So, Mike, this was the copper lining I was telling you about the inside?
Yeah, that's the same stuff I got done.
So did you get the copper on the inside too?
It's pretty freaking cool.
It is crunch time. Now it's time to put it all together fast, get it to Ryan for wiring. Then we got to get it on the dyno. Then we got to get it out to testing. And then we got to get redemption back at Global Time Attack Finals.
All right, Ravi, so when we had the fire, there was like a lot of damage to some of the soft parts in the engine compartment. So what we're doing is, you know, we're stripping out the entire wiring harness. That pretty much got toasted. So we're building you an all new mil-spec wiring harness with Ray Kim, all the cool stuff. It'll be just as good as what was in there, even better maybe. We pulled out every inch of plumbing. You know, this is all XRP, Teflon lined, top of the line stuff. A lot of it survived the fire pretty well, but we're going to inspect every bit of it and replace any bit of the plumbing that got compromised. We have our TurboSmart wastegates. They got pretty much scorched, but we're going to probably get new wastegates because, you know, the diaphragms might have been damaged by all the heat. So we're going to be using the new TurboSmart, more compact gates, which will actually be pretty cool. The AM regulator was fine. I don't think that got touched by anything, and the electric power steering looks pretty good. Maybe some of the heat wrap got a little scorched, but we're going to take that off, inspect it, and replace it. Just make sure there's nothing brittle or nothing that could actually cause more problems.
When the fire happened and I saw the damage, you know, one of the things that just went through my mind was like, man, all that HS79 hose from XRP is not cheap, you know? And it's one thing, like you said, you want to make sure the integrity of the hose is still there, especially for fuel, considering that was a problem that we had in the first place, you know, with the fuel line coming off the rail. But, you know, we still want it to look as good of a show car as it did before. So any brown lines, anything that maybe has, you know, some punctures or is starting to unweave, we're definitely going to change it out, right? When I made the commitment to rebuilding this car, doing it better, more badass, everything, you know, went through my mind of like, it's not going to be a cheap process, especially when you're working with the best companies and you're using the best parts. So it's just something that's, you know, part of the game when you're building a car like this to try to compete in unlimited class and global time attack and other types of race events. And I'm glad it's you guys at MotoIQ who are building it and making sure everything's going to be, you know, tip-top shape as it's going back in the car.
Well, we're happy for the opportunity, and it's cool to work with somebody that kind of gets it. I'm really surprised how well this XRP hose held up. I mean, like just about everything plastic and rubber burnt up, but I mean, this hose, for the most part, looks pretty good.
You know, I think it's just a testament of anything in life, right? You get what you pay for, right? You buy good stuff, it's going to last longer. If you buy crappy stuff, it's going to melt, it's going to break. And when you're getting into a car where there's so much labor involved, so much engineering, technical, you know, challenges, you might as well invest a little bit more money. And it's a lot more money for this compared to your, you know, offshore, you know, cheaper hoses, but it's worth it. And that's why we picked it. So,
well, you know what I've always told you, that 80% of the failures in the race car can be traceable to either plumbing or wiring. And we're not going to be cutting any corners in this case.
Yeah, especially after the last snafu we had, you know, definitely want to make sure everything's tip-top, super tight, brand new, and, you know, put this car back together bigger and better.
Let's go check out some of the other stuff you got done.
Definitely, yeah. Let's get all the stuff out that we just got back from coating, and we can talk about all of that.
Well, at least this thing's all bolted together now. This stuff's pretty cool looking.
Yeah, this is all the cool stuff.
When we got this stuff, we kind of redid the charge piping, and we put air diverters in your end tank. So we did all the baffling, so every bit of air going through the front of the car goes through your heat exchangers. And then you took it from there and you applied some of the special coatings that you use at CSF, right?
Yeah, so everything you're seeing on the table is being coated in our thermal dispersant black coating. And what that is, Mike, it rejects heat about 15% more than it just being bare raw aluminum. So not only are you getting the look of, a nice coated black part, but you're also getting performance benefit of it being able to pull the heat out of the air. With this car, obviously me owning a cooling business, we want cooling to be the star of what's happening. So when we worked with Brian at After Hours Garage, he had taken our V1 vertical flow intercooler and made it into a larger surface area with ducting, cross flow, redid all the piping, and we then went and got everything coated, the intake manifold from Magnus Motorsports, the PRL throttle body, some of the sheepy components like the catch can and swirl pot. So yeah, I think I'm really excited that now that I actually have all these parts in front of the car, it kind of is starting to give me a little bit of a wet willy that we're going to get back to putting the car together and how it's all going to look once it's all back in.
So this is more than just like a show finish. It actually improves the efficiency of all the heat exchangers. I really like this intake manifold, how it has the velocity stacks in there.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, and the decent plenum volume. It's nice and sturdy, so it won't break under boost like a lot of these fabricated manifolds. And the big throttle body, and your cooling system, like your swirl pod and everything, will keep everything deaerated. So that's all going to help efficiency and help the cooling. So yeah, really excited to put all this back together and have it in the car.
I think it's going to look great once all the different parts are back in the ar. So yeah, this is everything for the cold side.
So let's go check out your hot side.
Perfect.
So we got your hot side here, and this stuff didn't get changed that much. We mostly just did a thermal barrier coating, right?
Yeah, so this is the original exhaust manifold that's been on the car since we built it. What we did, since the car got disassembled, I had some time. I took it over to MB Performance in Santa Ana. They're one of the best coating companies in Southern California. And we've now put a titanium ceramic coating on the outside, as well as blasted it with copper lining on the inside. This is supposed to be good for up to 2200 degrees. So hopefully this will take care of all of our, containing the heat issues on the hot side, along with our new exhaust setup that we have for the vehicle as well.
So the exhaust is titanium, right?
Yeah, so this is done by Sheepy Race. Alex, good friend of mine, him and his old fabricator Nick put this together for us. One thing that we kind of noticed from the last setup with the straight out the middle of the engine bay, right in the middle of the windshield, wasn't the best for optics, started melting a little bit. So this is gonna be offset towards the passenger side and blow it up a little bit at an angle. What's really nice is the way they designed this, it's all for quick change. Everything's braced together for strength, but easy for it all to come out of the car if it needs to be serviced as well.
Yeah,
so
last time that was a little hard, and everything was like getting out of line and all
out of alignment and all that stuff. So it looks awesome, it's more functional. They understood that as the car progressed from show car into a race car, they needed to be able to match what we were looking to do with new and improved parts.
This burnt titanium finish is beautiful.
Yeah, Nick did an awesome job putting this all together. A lot of pie cuts, really kind of showcases the fabrication skills that they have down there. We wanted something that was going to be functional yet still beautiful and maintain that show car look.
Yeah, man, this would look probably good as a sculpture in your house, I bet.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's been sitting in our office, just hanging out, until it's ready to be put in the car. But I'm glad we're at this point where it's going to go in. Also, we need to have this in the car to be able to finish the hood.
Right.
Because, we're going to have to do a cutout of the hood, put a nice metal plate around it, and we're not going to be able to get the hood back to LTMW for paint until we mock everything up. So one step closer. And, the last piece of the puzzle would be the valve cover. The old valve, it's the same valve cover, but the old finish was a little bit more of an anodized red. Unfortunately, that also got pretty marked up during the fire. When I went back to MB to get it done in the same coating, they do not longer make that powder color anymore. So we had to find a different alternative, found something that's pretty close, a little bit brighter, and hopefully this still kind of matches the look that we're going for.
But I kind of like that it's probably not going to register with the people in the video is that this is actually like a metallic.
Yeah.
It really jumps at you, and you can't really tell in the video, I bet, but it looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, in person, all of the stuff, the way it's been coated, the new titanium piping, it all looks great. And I think when people see the car with the new color and the new finish of, you know, the engine bay, it's all been put together, it's just going to take everything up to the next level. I mean, this car had so much notoriety going into the last race at, you know, Global Time Attack Finals. For us to be rebuilding the car, I know there's a lot of eyeballs on it, and everyone's going to be looking at it with a fine-tooth comb, you know, and it's going to be one of those things where we just want everything to be elevated. So I think we're on the right track.
So now it's time to get it all together. I can't wait till this thing starts getting assembled.
We got to wait for the pistons, put the engine back together, and hopefully in about 3 to 4 weeks, this car's all assembled and ready to go back to Rywire to get all the final electrical harness installed, the fire suppression system, and, you know, after that it goes to the tuner, and hopefully in a couple months it's back on track.
Yeah, we get to test and dial her in, and I think with the new aero, we're going to get good aero balance, and we're going to start wrecking some stuff. I mean, in a good way.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think you and I, you know, coming out of the Global Time Attack Finals last November, had talked about all the things that we saw needed improving. You know, we knew we needed a bigger wing, so we went to Veris and we got a custom, you know, huge wing in the back to kind of balance out all the new aero in the front that After Hours Garage had done. And now putting all these components back better, then going and putting the safety stuff like the fire suppression system and cleaning up some of the things that we knew we weren't super happy with, but now is the chance to do it. I'm getting really excited. I think we're 2 months out from being back on the track, and let's get a best shot. You know, I think everyone's going to be really excited to see what we come up with. We'll be back with more of the car getting put back together over the next couple of weeks with MotoIQ, maybe some time-lapse stuff, just to kind of see how Howard and the rest of the team here is going to be putting it all back together. And in a month from now, it's going to be over at Rywire. So stay tuned and check it out. Thank you.
Thank you.
We got 60 days to sort this out, figure it out. So, you know, thankfully we finally got the pistons back from Mahle, new piston supplier, Mahle Motorsports. Thank you. And, you know, we got the engine here over at MotoIQ, and this will be getting assembled next week. And then everything goes back into the car and then off to Rywire. So yeah, it's exciting. I'm starting to get a little bit of that timeline, deadline crunch, you know, feeling.
Almost like SEMA.
It's almost like SEMA with no SEMA. I guess this is going to take care of the place. So yeah, I think everyone's kind of, you know, hands on deck to make sure that we get this car done. So really excited about, you know, going over all the engine components. You know, since we had that fire last year, we decided to take it out, refresh everything with all the parts, examine everything that we could improve upon. So this is one thing that we think we could just make a little bit stronger, a little bit more reliable, and you know, be able to handle all the power that we're going to be throwing at it on the racetrack. Oh, hold on, get something out of my eye.
I'd be lost. We'd be out of business.
I got some in my eye because that's all the tears of all the money I spent on this car. Let me wipe that down.
Well, at least a little tear. At least
I'm
you know
at
what
the tears right now.
At least you know, like, no bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
For your money, and
Yeah.
you know, we would never bullshit you anyway.
Of course, yeah, I get that. That's why you're here. We're all friends.
That's why you have consistent business.
Yeah. Redemption is coming. We're super excited. Just like you guys have seen for some of the previous videos, you know, when I sat down with Mike at the beginning of the year, we decided that we were going to go through the entire car, strip it all down, and make everything better. You know, I took all my money and put it into the car, and now we're here with the engine, and this is really where a lot of that is going. You know, this is something that you'll never see unless you are at this point before it's about to get reassembled. So really excited to be here with Mike. Mike is a guru when it comes to professional motorsports, engine building, suspension, you name it. He's been in the game for a long time, and he just kind of went through a little overview with me about everything that was going on with the 4B11T, and now he's going to kind of break it down for you guys. So Mike, good to see you, brother. You know, you and I have been spending a lot of time lately on some other projects and working on this car, and I feel like we're trying to get to the point, and we're almost to that point of finally we got all the engine parts in, and we can start putting the car back together.
Yeah, like you know, like COVID really messed this project up.
Fucked it up.
Like it took so long to get a lot of the parts, and really sorry about that, but you know, everything's finally here, and it's going to come together pretty quickly.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, it wasn't your fault. You know, obviously, with everything happening in the world, you can only wait for the stuff to come in. And you know, we've been working on other components of the car, and yeah, it's all here now. So it's really go time.
So you probably want to know what you got for your money, right?
Absolutely. Where did all my money go, Mike? You tell us.
So, as you know, like a 4B11 is a little 2-liter aluminum engine.
Yep.
I mean, it's pretty strong, but we're asking a lot from it because this little thing is making 750 horsepower. It was designed to make about 300, and we're really stretching it to the limit, right? Like, you know, a lot of guys run on the street, they do freeway pulls, half-mile runs. You know, it's only on the throttle for, you know, like seconds. But in time attack, it has to run for 20 minutes straight, you know, and like brutal. So that's really hard to abuse. So you got to pay a lot of attention to the details. But I'll just go over everything really quick. So we have your block. We boarded out 0.5 millimeter oversize, so we can straighten out the boards with really good machining. We have a Manley crank here. We balanced it, checked it for straightness. We WPC treated it for less friction and longer life. And it's spinning around in King bearings. These are King's new nanoparticle coated bearings that are really tough.
So, Mike, it also got stroked out to a 2.2, right?
Yeah, that's a minor detail that I completely forgot. But, you know, more displacement, spools the turbo quicker. We don't have to twist the motor and boost it so hard. So I hope that, you know, we can make equivalent horsepower with better durability just by increasing the displacement slightly.
You know, and so for the WPC, so if nobody really knows what that is, it's a special coating, makes everything stronger, more durable, less friction. It's just a badass motorsports, aerospace type coating. So we've got a lot of different components in our engine that have been WPC treated.
It's actually not a coating, it's a this high-tech Japanese surface treatment that I could probably talk about for an hour, and yeah, we don't want to go into that detail in particular, but it's a surface treatment, really improves the strength and reduces friction.
Perfect. Cool. So what else have we got here, Mike?
We got a CNC ported head, 4P. We changed the valve job. We're doing a CNC complete radius valve job with wider seats for more durability, and we're going to pick up some flow even. We have Supertech valves. Nitrided stainless on the intake, Inconel on the exhaust. The Inconel is really important because turbo engines have a lot of heat. Most of the heat's on the exhaust side, and you know, some of the problems before is we couldn't get rid of the heat out of here. So with these more durable valves, I think that's going to solve a lot of the problems. And you know, Kelford Cams, like before, they're all WPC treated to like avoid some of that galling issues that we had. Carrillo rods. What else? COSWORTH head gasket, and we got to talk about these pistons.
Yeah, these are badass pistons from Mahle Motorsport. They're a new partner of ours for this season. We decided to switch to their pistons, and they really came through. So, Mike, yeah, give us a little bit of a rundown on what's going on with these badass pistons.
So we're increasing your compression to 11-to-1. We can do that because of the ethanol fuel we're going to be running. Higher compression, more power, spools the turbo quicker, more power particularly on the bottom, so it's going to have a wider power band. I guess some of the things in a nutshell is strut type piston. We moved the piston pin bosses in closer, so we have a shorter pin, but it's thicker. So the thicker pin is less likely to tweak and grab the bushing and fail the pin bosses, but it's shorter, so it's stronger and the weight is still low. Some of the other stuff, we have a hard anodized first ring groove to avoid micro welding and seizing, which is like a lot of problem with high boost engines, especially with ethanol fuel. Ethanol doesn't have the slipperiness of gasoline. Yep. We have like low friction coating on the skirts. These pistons come with this bone stock out of the box, and most other pistons you have to pay extra for that. Gas ports to help the ring seal. These are like trick pistons.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, maybe a brand that may not be known as much as some of the other well-known piston companies, but you can see from the technology and the advantages, the performance on it, it's going to be a big benefit to the motor. And I think not just for the performance side, like you said, you know, wider power band, more horsepower, just the overall reliability and durability of the engine is going to be there with the addition of those new pistons.
We're holding your bottom end together with ARP studs. These are like aircraft grade alloy, a lot stronger. You know, like if your fasteners aren't strong, you start to get problems where your stock fasteners stretch and you get fretting on your main caps, and usually that, the block is starting to get done at that point. So we can run more torque with those, hold everything together better. That should help the durability. And also, we have the Magnus Motorsport dry sump system. That's the pan right
Shout out to my boy Marco up in Toronto. Magnus Motorsports came through with the entire host of all the parts that he makes for the Evo 10 and for B11T. All his stuff is pretty good. I mean, we've been running it last year. We had his dry sump kit on the car, which is obviously going back, and really helps with making sure there's no oil starvation, especially when you're pulling all those G's on the racetrack, right, Mike?
Yeah, and what I found is as time attack cars are getting more sophisticated, it's getting really hard to hold the motors together. But a lot of that is they pull big G's and they suck air in the oil system. Then you start getting homogenized milkshake oil going to your bearings, and then the engine starts coming apart. Well, with your dry sump, you're sucking the bottom end really clean of all that oil mist and windage, putting it in a tank, letting it get de-aerated, and then you're pumping solid, nice, cool, no air oil back into your engine, no matter how hard the G's are. And as RPM's going up, as horsepower demand goes up, and the G-forces these cars create with the aero and everything, I think dry sumps make a huge difference in engine life.
Awesome. Well, Mike, I really appreciate it. This is awesome. We're going to see this engine in the car. You're going to see it probably next week getting built by Howard, who's the resident mechanic here at MotoIQ. Has been doing engine building for a long time, and should be in about 2 weeks. Everything should be in the car and off to Ryan at Rywire to get all the final harness and wiring done, correct?
Yeah, and I can't wait to dial this thing in with the new rear wing and all the little tweaks we've done.
I mean, so just like a recap of where we're at right now, we're 60 days away from Global Time Attack Finals. We did all the new aero, fire suppression system, everything that was done for a few months over at Brian's place at After Hours. We're now here at MotoIQ, finally got all the different components to build the engine. So putting that, once this is done next week, we'll be literally 5 weeks away from getting to a racetrack. We still got to put the whole car together, get it over to Rywire. We got to get the hood on the car. We got to get the car tuned, and then we got to get the car out to testing, which hopefully will give us a couple weeks left to fix any of the small tweaks or do any of the things that we need to do, and then to the race. So we definitely have a lot of work to do. Thank God SEMA is canceled this year. A lot of our attention and focus is going to be on this race car, and yeah, we're going for broke. I mean, we're really looking to win the race at Global Time Attack. I mean, I think that's the goal. Wouldn't you say, Mike?
Just don't say broke.
Don't say broke. We just went over the whole engine that's about to go into the Evo. Right now, you can see the car. Kind of not much has happened since last time we were here when I was talking with Mike about all the different engine components that were going to go in. We've put the radiator in, a couple catch cans, but really we got to put the engine in first and then kind of build everything on top of that. So hopefully within a week or two, all that will start, and the car will be going to Rywire next for all the wiring, harness, get the electrical stuff sorted out, and good to go. After that, that's the last stop, and we get back to tuning.
You get your little scratches. Oh. Thanks here. Getting an A74. Or going to Fuji for. I want a GFX 100 now. So like, can you work out like a deal, bro?